What's up everybody, my name is PLK and today we're talking about Baldur's Gate 3. Why it's too good, why it's so good, why it's not appropriately good. And we are reacting on the video of this guy, the Actman. I saw this guy's first time on the Asman Gold's channel video, so I decided to check it, and this guy, the Actman, this one, he's doing great videos. So we'll react on this video. It's definitely a cool one about Baldur's Gate 3. Let's discuss and understand what is happening with the game industry, and also my personal opinion as the fellow gamer and the developer of the games.
The Dark Urges man here, and today
Okay, now I understand. It's important. This guy's playing as a Dark Urge.
I want to take you down by the river. Larian Studios has lit the internet on fire with their latest dating simulator, one that
Honestly, yeah, why not? Sounds legit.
gives Super Seducer a run for its money. By all accounts, Baldur's Gate 3 is a slam dunk success, and it's now the highest rated PC game on Metacritic ever.
And I will say that it's definitely deserved. Like, if you played their other games, the Larian Studios, the developers of the game, they had Divinity Original Sin, they have many games, and they deliver all these RPG games with a quality every freaking time. Every time. So
There's a lot of games on PC. It has taken one of the top 10 spots for most concurrent players on Steam. On August 6th, apparently the game accounted for 28% of total player time on Steam. Pardon my French, but that's fucking crazy.
Whoa, what the hell? That means that 27% of all people on Steam was playing this game at the same... Okay.
As far as I've played, Baldur's Gate 3 has been an incredible game, and it is very refreshing.
Squirrel might be the single most adorable creature you can recall in all your stunted memory.
Oh.
It would be ever so twee if it were climbing a tree.
Twee?
Do you always take on such terrifying foes?
No studio is more deserving of this kind of praise than Larian, who has toiled in the mines for far too long. But we're not reviewing the game today. Instead, I want to focus on this small pocket of contrarians still holding.
This is a great thread about why using a singular game to set expectation for everyone developing titles in the genre isn't useful and is instead full. I don't agree with that. We talked about that in other videos about Diablo 4, about the Wayfinder early access launch, about all this gaming with battle passes, etc. Like, this is the game. This is how you develop the game. But you can say about the 6 years in the early access, the developers of 400 people. The Larian Studios were broke few times during their lifetime of their development as a studio. They wanted to close the studio because they didn't have money, because they delivered only quality. And then they pick up when they started with the Divinity Original Sin and everything. And now everybody is saying, yeah, it's not standard. It's a standard because everybody will buy this game.
Out at Helm's Deep. I want to talk about this IGN video. Baldur's Gate 3 is causing some developers to panic. And the video it's pretty good. Wait, is this IGN? Are you sure? It's filled with great takes and actual insight and commentary into the game industry, and not just giving away 9 out of 10 scores to every new release.
Developers should be looking at what Baldur's Gate 3 did and trying to replicate where they can, not jumping up to defend games that are cramming in practices that fans are getting fed up with.
He's right!
But there's this sentiment going around that Baldur's Gate 3 it's just an unreasonable standard for AAA studios to meet.
I know what you will say right now. You see this, posture. Blizzard have 9,000 developers, 9,000 people working. I don't know, is it on Diablo 4? I think the whole company is bigger, right? But let's say Diablo 4 is like 2,000 people or something. To produce such game, it's really, really tough thing. Even to produce the gear, produce the mechanics, etc. I understand that. And the big companies like Blizzard and like whatever, take the Activision or whatever it is, whoever is doing the Warzone, these guys want and can't do unique stuff in the games. They just deliver the quality of the assets and some shitty gameplay, which is standard, so people will play it, and it's for casuals, and it's like for everybody, right? These guys, the Larian Studios, they said, well, we have our experience in D&D. We want to make this so deep and so interesting for you guys who want to play this game, so it will, like, you can do everything there. And indie studios, small studios that are doing small cool games, they are not panicking at all, because they will deliver, they will do anyway the cool, interesting, unique stuff, because otherwise they can, stand out from the crowd of the big companies, because they don't have this quality of assets and people, like thousands of people, developers. It's only big companies screaming, because they know that if it will continue, everybody will shit on Diablo 4, which is happening right now. On Twitch, Diablo 4 right now is like peak 2K viewers, and Baldur's Gate like 100,000 KU viewers. You know what?
So we're going to talk about that, because ladies and gentlemen, the companions in Baldur's Gate 3 are an irresistible thirst trap. Luckily for me, I can resist their temptations and quench my thirst with AirUp, the sponsor of today's video. Have you ever wanted to drink plain water but have it taste like flavored? Well, now you can. AirUp has a specially designed water bottle that flavors water through scent alone. If you're someone who doesn't drink a lot of water during the day, you get a bit dehydrated, or you're worried about artificial sweeteners and extra sugar, this is the perfect solution for you. The pods are also super easy to activate. You can just pull up when you want flavor and push down if you want normal water. It's also great if you want to cut back on soda. We all crave sugar, and this is one of those really cool science tricks that can help you lessen your sugar intake. So go order your special AirUp water bottle today using the link in the description and pinned comment, and don't forget to use the code ACTMAN to get 15% off your entire purchase. And thank you, AirUp, for sponsoring this video.
And now for something completely different.
I like his small parts of footage. And also, please subscribe to the guy, because he did a great job, and we're only reacting here, nothing to... I don't want to take others' content. I just like some of the content, like from Force Gaming, from this guy actually. And I want to see it together with you, with some opinions. So please subscribe to this guy. And for my channel as well, please. Okay, let's go.
Ever since the days of horse armor and Oblivion, parts of the video game industry have gotten progressively greedier as time goes on. It's something that a lot of gamers are getting increasingly tired of. So naturally, as Baldur's Gate 3 was about to come out, we all wondered...
It's the right time when it came out, because it was Diablo 4, and everybody was really waiting this game, like, okay, how can you do the Diablo bad game? How? You can. With microtransactions and the greedy stuff, and you just don't want to play the game because you understand it's only for money, which is so bad, because the game is okay. And then they came up with the Baldur's Gate 3 launch, and everybody's like, what the hell is happening? Why is not like other games? Why it's no battle passes? Why is that? And why you can do this all crazy shit in the game? Nobody cares about it. You kill people, you sex with people, you mock gays, you mock transgenders, you do everything you want. If you want that in the positive way, I mean, mocking is not positive, right? Harassment is not positive, but they are doing it so easy. So you're like, well, freak it, it's cool.
What the catch would be. Are there going to be any dumb microtransactions? No. There are no in-game purchases in our game. We believe in providing a complete and immersive gaming experience without the need for
I mean, it's developers flexing, right? They're like, yeah, we don't have micro... And they have all the ground to do that.
Additional purchases. Enjoy the game to its fullest without any additional costs or microtransactions.
I don't believe it!
This can't be right. Is this the prince who was promised? Well, the game's got to be fucking terrible then. We've gotten to a point where it feels like in the AAA gaming space, like outside of Nintendo, the idea of video games being complete at release and just a one-time purchase, that idea is almost extinct. Even games...
Good point, actually, about the Nintendo. These guys, they don't get a freak. They're just delivering the coolest game ever. They deliver all these Mario games. They deliver the shittiest Pokemon games. Oh man, I'm so angry on them. Like, they can't do the good Pokemon game. But this is for another video, right? But they're delivering the Zelda, the Mario games, and it's like you bought the game and play the game. Not this, you know.
Games that are just supposed to be single player can be completely broken at release. Well, with ethics like this, Larian, it's no wonder some game devs don't want it to become the new standard. Nah, just keep pounding those microtransactions in. Just keep shoveling that crap in there. You know what my first reaction is when a new game comes out? Where are the slot machines? How can I gamble more money? I think the industry deserves a game like Baldur's Gate 3, and we deserve a developer like Larian. The biggest problem with microtransactions and in-game purchases is that it always affects the core gameplay, usually in a negative way. Sometimes companies end up implementing anti-player design to then charge the players to make the game better, less tedious, or more customizable.
What?
Think about how Halo Infinite took away your ability to choose your own colors in order to sell that back to you. Like try to imagine Baldur's Gate 3 as a live service game with a battle pass. Jesus Christ. Okay, well now Larian has to figure out ways to provide continuous content, so they likely come up with easily copy and pasted content and quests for new seasons. You know, how do players unlock tiers in the battle pass? How do you incentivize them to spend more money? What do you put in the battle pass to make it worth completing? On and on the questions go. You see, without a live service or a battle pass, Larian doesn't have to mold and shape the game to fit that puzzle. All they had to do was...
That's also something that I'm really scared about the Wayfinder. It looks like it's so many already about the written transactions, so the game will be shaped in this way. It's actually a super good point. I like this guy. This guy really think through that. He's... Okay, one more time. What is he telling us, right? He's telling us that when the developers say it's not to pay to win game, which means it's only cosmetics that you can buy, they will not influence the gameplay, they will not influence your power of the character, whatever. He said it's not like that. If the developers have the huge shop, they need to shape the gameplay and game itself so people will stick to the game and they will buy these things. So basically it's not pay to win, but if you have the huge shop that you need to sell something there, right, as a developer, you will provide the content that will keep you in the game, not for the game itself, but for the shop, which is worse, right? It's even worse. Like in Korean games, you have like, you need to buy this to kill these people. Okay, it's pay to win, but you clearly understand why you're paying. Here, you're just playing the shitty game? Oh man.
Was focused on making the best video game possible, and I think they've done a bang-up job. And then the other thing with in-game purchases is you now have to take content out of the game that could have been unlocked by simply playing it, and you now have to resell it, right? Another thing that really makes Larian's games stand out as RPGs is that they don't really make filler or fluff. Quests aren't handled like a checklist of chores and activities to...
This guy was the Diablo streamer and YouTuber for a long time. And he's so pissed on Diablo for now.
Just keep you busy for
Fair enough.
no other reason. But let's go into this topic of Baldur's Gate 3 being so unbelievably good that nobody else can make a game this good ever. Please, please, please put some thought into it before you proclaim this is what AAA gaming should be moving forward. 6 years and 400 plus people with insane funding due to the IP.
I talked about that already. It's not like that. They specifically, the Larian Studios did the 2 successful games before, the Divinity Sin, right? 1 and 2. And 1 and 2. And they can't launch the game as early access with all these battle passes or whatever you want. And they didn't do that. They launched the early access and they specifically said it's only first act. We will develop the game through that. This is for you possibility to check the game. And you don't need to buy anything else. One-time purchase, nothing else. That's what I did. I bought the game about like $30 3 years ago, and I'm playing the best game possible. Nothing more, nothing, no DLC, etc. And yeah, they like have 400 people. They have all this money from Divinity Original Sin to develop such a game. If you can't do that, do the game like, you know, smaller. Take the Disco Elysium game. It's an indie project which is they just did it so minimalistic and small, so it's so intense with the content that people love it. That's the thing. I 100% don't agree with these comments about this is a new standard. It is a new standard. If you don't want that produced, do double A game and do it just unique and interesting. Like, I don't know, Only Up, all these things.
Having given
interesting.
BG3 a big boost. It's truly unrealistic to expect this on a regular basis. And then some guy from Larian came out of the woodwork and was like, what funding?
That's the thing. This company was broke few times, and they like, yeah, we will do this cool game anyway. They did the original scene, and they like, okay, yeah, we'll spend this money on the coolest game ever. And everybody's funding time. But you can do that. I mean, I don't know how many people did Goblet for, but it's much. It's a lot.
Just to be clear, Larian didn't receive funding from Wizards of the Coast to use the Dungeons & Dragons IP. Quite the opposite. They paid a licensing fee to use it. There are like standards and practices they have to follow with this IP. So it's even more encumbering than just making a new game based on an IP they already own, which makes it even more impressive. Then he goes on to double down after being called out. Clearly funding wasn't the right choice of words here. Replace that with budget, knowing that an IP with the legacy of this one is going to sell.
What?
This just perplexes me. Are you talking about the Dungeons and Dragons IP? Because most people associate that with the tabletop board games. Are you talking about the Baldur's Gate IP? Because the last game I heard about Baldur's Gate was Dark Alliance 2 in 2004. I reckon most...
Yeah, but this is the small game as a DLC for the original one, which was also cool. It was super good games, and we played with my brother for the nights and nights. But the original Baldur's Gate 2 was when? I don't know, in 1998.
People prior to this hadn't heard of Larian Studios and had never heard of Baldur's Gate before. What's also funny about this tweet and the situation in general is that people are proclaiming this isn't what AAA gaming should be. Yet another game recently came out that also had 6 years of development, a team 22 times bigger than Larian.
So 22 times bigger than Larian. Larian is what? He will tell us that, but I like to do the interaction during the reaction. I mean, I'm not just looking at this guy for the views. I'm looking to have fun with you guys, right? So 400 multiple. Okay, you can't see that. This is one. Multiple by 22. It's, yeah, I was right. Like 9,000 people was working on Diablo 4 for 6 years. 9,000 people. 9,000 people in 6 years can... They can make a new game engine, produce the game 22 times bigger than Baldur's Gate 3. Oh man, come on. It's just so pathetic.
With funding from a company that made $7.5 billion last year. And yet nobody is saying that game is creating an unrealistic standard. Why is that? Why is that? If you have the tools, the people, the means, and the funding, then you should strive for greatness. I don't understand why people think otherwise. What are they actually thinking? Don't let this become the new standard because we can't make games that good. I think it's pretty clear what the...
I think that the answer here is really simple. Like, if you can't do the games this good, what's the problem? You as developer, me, our company as developers, we can't produce game as Diablo 4. It's too big for us. We will produce something like if you want to produce the action slash hack and slash RPG, action RPG, right? We will do what? We will take the concept of the Diablo 4 or Path of Exile or whatever we want. We will try to figure out the unique thing which will, separate us from the market, and we will develop the simpler graphics, simpler assets, but we will develop the good core gameplay loop, which based on this unique feature that we figure out, and we will do this game, and we will not say this is the biggest game ever. We will say that this game is coolest because it have this. Buy it, play it. It's like 10 hours of gameplay. Cool, we will do that. How about Baldur's Gate 3 in this scenario pushing me to the unrealistic standards? How? If I will go and say I will do the Baldur's Gate 4 or Icewind Dale or, the huge games or Disco Elysium, nobody, when you talk with the client about the game development and client said, we want Disco Elysium, you ask specifically like, what exactly do you want? Because Disco Elysium was this really, really small game with a super cool concept, with all these, small details that clicked. You can't do that. It's like viral video on YouTube. You can't produce the viral video on YouTube. So I'm a little bit sad and angry with all this. Yeah, like if you can't produce the game like that, don't produce other game.
The difference in priorities is between like Larian and Blizzard. Blizzard is like trying to make money, and Larian knows they're gonna make money if they just make a good video game. When you're at that level, you don't have to try to make money. Just make a good product. Like a lot of people, I'm deeply excited about what the lovely folks at Larian accomplished, but I want to preemptively push back against players taking that excitement and using it to apply criticism or a raised standard to RPGs going forward. Wouldn't it be great if Bethesda held this standard to Fallout 76? Wouldn't that have been great? What are you trying to say? Stop complaining about AAA game developers that get away with releasing half-baked shitty games? Just accept bad trends and shitty practices amongst the industry? Why wouldn't the best-rated PC game of all time not raise the standards? This is not a new baseline for RPGs. This is
exactly. This is so ridiculous for me. It's delusional. Like, why are we talking about that? The game is good. Everybody liked the game. Even the haters like the game. Just say it's the best game ever. Like, now we need to compare ourselves to this game. That's cool. Every freaking MMORPG that were produced during these years were compared to World of Warcraft. Every. Because World of Warcraft classics, the first ones, right, they set the standards. Like, this is how the MMORPG genre should look like. And everybody, we want to clone the World of Warcraft, and nobody can. That's okay. Like you have the, I don't know, BMW, the car, right? And you have the Nissan or something. I don't say that Nissan is a bad company. I say that if you will compare how the reputation goes, I don't know technicals of the cars, right? But I know that if I sit in the BMW, I feel myself good. Everybody knows that I'm in a good car, or Mercedes or something like that. And when I'm sitting in Nissan, everybody is okay with that. This is the car for different audience. Like Nissan have also cool cars, right? And I like some of them. But it's like we're comparing different stuff. It's for different audience. It's for different purpose. It's the same. This is the cool game. They really developed it. Let's just praise them. What the hell?
This is an anomaly. Trying to do the same thing the same way, especially without the same advantages, could kill an entire group of studios. What advantages? The advantage of talent? Hard work? Foresight? Uncorrupted morals? These are things Larian has and all these other studios can easily...
And, get me right. I don't say that people working on Blizzard are bad. I think that, I'm working with developers, right? With artists, with designers, with the engineers, whatever. Every freaking guy, every one of them, when they produce some asset or doing something for the game, they want to do, because we're working on the game industry, right? What's the point? Not to love games. So every guy in the team want to produce whatever he's producing in a super cool way. They want to do the game better, everybody. I don't know any developer that is like, yeah, I will click this mouse and do the code or model these models, right? And then I will go out with my friends. It is like, yeah, today I have to do this model and I will do it as cool as possible because it's artistic job, let's say like that, right? So I think that guys in Blizzard and other big companies, the developers, they're super cool people. I really believe in that because I want to work on these companies and the big ones because it's cool. You can produce something interesting and big. And then monetization came and marketing came and business came. And I understand why. You need to, pay salaries. You need to do all this stuff with annual reports. It's a big company. I'm in the business as well. I understand that. Just the standards became so dark for the monetization. So like the good example right now is Wayfighter. It's the game early access. Light MMORPG, right? It's only like 3 days in early access. I can't play only 3 hours during all this early access because they have problems with the servers. But that's okay, it's early access. But anyway, when you go to the game, it's super big shop. You have Founders Pack for $130. You have all these cosmetics and like you from the beginning already suspicious. Like what the hell? It's early access. The game is so small, and you're already selling all this shit. And like,
easily attain. Baldur's Gate 3 is not an anomaly. It didn't just spring out of the ground. This isn't Larian's first game. They've been making top-down RPGs for over 20 years. Baldur's Gate 3 is simply the culmination of all that work, of all they have learned, on an engine they've been working on for many, many years. Baldur's Gate 3 is the culmination of a series or genre in the same way that Elden Ring and Smash Bros. Ultimate were. These aren't anomalies. These are really good games made by competent studios with a clear vision that have worked tirelessly to perfect their craft. They are efficient and smart with their work, constantly building upon what they did last. Larian is super familiar with the engine used to make this game. The controls are the same as original Sin 2. So much of the base work was already done years prior. But unlike the
exactly, that's why you're playing every year. You're playing the whoever like the FIFA games, right? The football games. You're playing the every new Mortal Kombat. I will play this new Mortal Kombat one, like for 4 days, because I'm not this fighter player. But it's Mortal Kombat. They based on some quality, and some of them are bad, some of them are good, but they continue to develop the game in the same universe, same tactics, same stuff with uniqueness, like Street Fighter's game, right? They try to add something, but they're doing their thing, which is the same for the Baldur's Gate 3.
Even in the original Sin 2, one of the craziest advances is that apparently all of the scenes have been mocapped. Whereas in original Sin 2, you just had to imagine what characters were doing. Again, it's a pretty funny comparison because that's the same type of storytelling Diablo 4 is doing. And then you look at Baldur's Gate 3 and it's just like, wow. But if you think about it, conceptually speaking, the older Smash Bros. Characters' movesets are pretty solid. And most of them didn't need any massive overhauls when it came time to make Ultimate. But you get what I'm saying? These studios work smarter. They don't settle for re-releasing the same game every year or tearing down the foundation and rebuilding it every 3 years. So that's why these games seem so impressive. Because to a lot of people, they haven't played Larian games. They haven't experienced these mechanics before. So it feels like it comes out of nowhere. I can't
Exactly, like not so big amount of people played Divinity Original Sin, right? 1, 2, and the previous game of Larian Studios. It's the same like Divinity 2. Same. Everything is the same, but just a little bit better. Same humor, same stuff, same mechanics, same everything. Like different classes, more detailed, more. That's why they did this early access for six years.
Disagree with this one more. Whenever a game disrupts the industry and delights players beyond expectations, it absolutely raises industry and genre standards regardless of the why and how. Well said. We should celebrate landmark titles like this. Greed often breeds complacency, and once the profits start rolling in, you really see people's true nature. Do they want to do as little work as possible for the maximum amount of money? Do they still have the same passion? Does a guy with 1 million subs still have the same passion for his craft as a guy with 1,000? You know what I mean?
Exactly. And you know who have only 1,000 subs? And you know what you need to do to click which button to click? Thank you guys for your time.
Larian serves as a very good example to other developers, I would say. This is a great thread about why using a singular game to set expectations for everyone developing titles in a genre isn't useful and is instead foolhardy. This is one of those statements that 5 years from now is going to be looked back on as really fucking stupid. It's going to be looked back on as those people when cars were first coming out. They were like, cars aren't going to replace horses. That's foolhardy. People that cling to the old ways when something objectively better comes along, right? You could probably say the same thing about Mario 64 when that came out and revolutionized 3D games and platformers. I'm sure there was a bunch of people back then saying, well Mario 64 is an anomaly. You can't expect other studios to be able to accomplish this.
Exactly. This is super cool point. Like in 5 years with all this AI that we're having right now with Unreal Engine 5.3 already, right? It's so cool what you can do with the simplest way. I can produce the game myself alone, the small one with a small core gameplay loop, but I can do it in weeks. And it will be okay game, like only up. The idea should be interesting, right? And the people, come on, we need to try harder. We need to praise these guys and say, fuck you, Baldur's Gate 3, fuck you, Larian, we will do game better, not because we have a better budget, and somebody had and has, right? But because we will do super unique features. It should be like a competition in Olympics. Not like that. Everybody is crawling from the halls and saying, no, it's not new standard. So what they're saying, actually, so they're saying, we are producing the games, and if I will produce the RPG game, it will be shittier than Baldur's Gate 3. But you consumer, should buy it and say, yeah, that was not a standard for that. Why? I don't understand why. Like, I'm waiting for the good MMORPG already for like few years, not few, 10 years to play, and still nothing.
You can't apply this standard to other platformers. It's not fair.
That's not fair at all.
Here's the thing, right? Wouldn't a company or a person genuinely passionate about their craft want to compete with Baldur's Gate? Competition breeds improvement. It creates better products, and we all win in the end. Complacency seems to be what some of these devs are advocating for, or at the very least admitting they work for a studio that doesn't prioritize making good products as much as they should. I get what they're trying to say though, right? Don't expect every quarterback to be as good as Tom Brady, but every quarterback should try to be as good as...
That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, Actman. Thank you, man. That's what I'm talking about. You don't be the best, but the standards should be everybody is playing NBA basketball, right? Everybody is thinking, yeah, I will be like Jordan, I like Michael, right? I will be like Shaq, I will be like Kobe, I will be like LeBron. Nobody is saying I will be like the shittiest average player in the NBA. Nobody, because what's the point?
As Tom Brady. I don't know a single game dev who has conveyed this sentiment about BG3. Instead, I've heard devs ask folks not to use the great things achieved by this team as a weapon to use against other devs. Now, this is the actual argument I think some of them are trying to present, right? Remember how obnoxious the PlayStation fanboys would get when they compared every video game ever made to The Last of Us 2? Yeah, nobody should be doing that with Baldur's Gate 3. The one or two devs they were quoting were talking about how you shouldn't be expecting every RPG studio to be making games on the scale.
Stuff. Let's talk about that. It's really important. The Last of Us as a game, it's not a good game. Yeah, I said that. Sorry. I said that. You can throw your, poops on me. Why? But listen. What does it mean? It means that the game is average. It's like normal single player, how we call it, campaign scenario, whatever. It's just the single player game, like third person shooter, not based on the shooting mechanics, but based on the story. And that's all. Like the gameplay itself, it's nothing new. It's even stupid sometimes. The first game, the second game, whatever. It's the just quality, average asset, but the storyline behind that and how they based the gameplay around the story, they understood from the beginning. That's the fair winning point for them. They understood that the story will be the hugest one. We need to push for the story, right? So they did everything around the story, all based around the story, and that's why they were smart. They produced very really high level game. And everybody, even the TV series is so good right now, right? That's the thing. It's like, if people just say, you produce the Doom Eternal, and you say like, it's not so good as The Last of Us, it's like we compare the car with Apple, so it's like stupid. But if we're talking about RPG games, and Baldur's Gate 3 will be the new standard. It's so cool. Everybody else will produce their games, and they will try to accomplish some parts of the those things from the Baldur's Gate 3.
Scale of BG3, because not every studio has the time, effort, or manpower. Yes, but some studios do have the time and manpower. Yes. They just don't put in the effort. Exactly. Nobody is saying Johnny Game Developer and his 2 college dorm roommates should make a 100-hour masterpiece RPG as their first game. Nobody's saying that. I don't think people are saying that BG3 is the new standard, but rather it should raise everybody else's standards, because a lot of other developers really fucking down in the ground, man. CD Projekt Red, Cyberpunk, Fallout 76, Bethesda. This is why Starfield has such high expectations behind it, and why it will be such a disappointment if that game turns out to be a glitchy, bug-ridden disaster. So many of these other companies have the exact same tools and resources at their disposal at Larian. They just make terrible products. So yeah, this is what AAA studios should strive to achieve. And it's fine if they don't. But if they try, then they'll probably make a good RPG. Cyberpunk is a prime example of why everyone's standards should be higher. It's a wake-up call for a lot of these other developers, I hope. Larian has had such an underdog story that, like, it's so cathartic to see them succeed, because 10 years ago, they were raising funds for Divinity Original Sin through a Kickstarter program. This is a studio that risked bankruptcy in the name of quality. So at the end of the day, I think a lot of gamers have also woken up when they see what we've been missing for a long time, or at least what has become so rare in the industry, a game released by a studio that has no intentions of selling you something beyond that initial purchase, a game that works and is complete at launch. Baldur's Gate 3 is just an amazing game, and we should all be celebrating it. It is the prince who was promised, and hopefully it sends shockwaves across the industry. Should we compare every new RPG that comes out to Baldur's Gate 3? Probably not. But let's hope every new RPG in the AAA space tries to be as good, and that those companies try to be as pro-consumer as Larian. But thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, and subscribe to The Actman for more awesome content. Don't forget to order your Air Up water bottle using my link in the description and pinned comment. Use code ACTMAN for 15% off. All right, everyone, that's all I got for today. This is The Actman signing out. Peace.
Yeah, definitely subscribe to this guy, because this video, all the video is so good. Like, we will watch his videos and the other videos, my videos, right? He's so good. I really like this content. It's not only negative things. Like, he's doing, I mean, this video basically was the positive. It's like from the other direction, because we just, tied up with all this monetization crap. So please subscribe to this guy, and thank you, Actman, to this videos. Really appreciate that. And definitely, if you like the video, if you like my comments, I add half more time of the video by me talking. If you don't like it, dislike it, right? If you like it, please subscribe and like. And we are playing Wayfinder right now, and we're waiting for World of Warcraft Hardcore, so streaming on the YouTube. See you guys. Peace. No, it's not like that. Happy gaming.